where do you currently sit? Obviously, he's got 4 starts, 2 good, 2 bad. Where, if you had to make the decision for him to be quarterback 1 for 2026, would you go with him? Would you draft or trade?
It's a great question. You're going to have to take a look at the whole 7 games. But I still do believe that once you get to the end of the 7 games, it's still going to be difficult to know. And you might just have to make a judgment call. You might just have to decide, hey, we've seen him throw some really nice passes. He's got elite accuracy.
I'm leaning Shedeur for 2 reasons. 1, I think Shedeur has something, and I want to see that before I move on. 2, I just can't, I can't believe, as of right now, I don't believe any of the quarterbacks in this draft 5 years from now are going to be definitively better than Shedeur. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be drafted in the first round, but what I mean is, I think Shedeur, I think he was a top 40
spin
pick.
on this. I like this.
Stop.
I like this. What a supporter we have here.
But I think Shedeur was a top 40 player in this last draft. I didn't think he was a top 5 player. I think Shedeur, at his best, is going to be somewhere between the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th best quarterback in the NFL. I don't know Fernando Mendoza is going to be anything more than that.
Mary Kay Cabot just went nuclear on Jimmy Haslam after revealing the Browns may replace Shedeur Sanders in 2026, admitting on 92.3 The Fan that I don't know yet if he can be the guy, and that even after 7 full games, it's still going to be difficult to know if Shedeur is franchise QB material, essentially confirming the Browns are considering using one of their 2 first-round picks to draft a quarterback instead of building around him. But here's where this gets absolutely explosive. Mary Kay revealed that after the Titans game, there was probably a lot of feeling this was on the right track, but then she dropped the bomb that the Bears game made the Browns question everything, saying Shedeur took a couple steps back in what she called just a normal part of what happens with a rookie quarterback. The most disturbing part? Mary Kay admitted the Browns might just have to take a risk if they want to roll with Shedeur in 2026, essentially treating him like a gamble rather than the proven talent he is. And when asked directly if she would go with him as QB1 next year, she said, I don't know yet, twice, confirming that despite Shedeur's elite accuracy, improved footwork, and moxie, the Browns organization is still not convinced he's their guy. And the real bombshell? Mary Kay revealed the Browns are planning to use their first-round picks on an offensive tackle and wide receiver in a perfect world where they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback, meaning they're actively keeping the door open to drafting Cam Ward or Jackson Dart to replace Shedeur before he even gets a real chance.
But I think the key here is who's got the quarterback. Kevin will be successful when he has a quarterback, either here or elsewhere. It all comes down to the quarterback. So if the Cleveland Browns have a good quarterback over the next few years, then he'll be a successful head coach. If he goes somewhere where he's in quarterback heck all over again, then it will be tough for him.
And now, you say if he has a quarterback, does that mean that he's a guy that he would have to have an established quarterback, or do you think he's just not?
I think it's important to note what's going on here. Is just a week-to-week thing, or is Shedeur the guy for the foreseeable future? And Kevin basically said, I'm only focusing on this week. So I think that's important to note. In terms of what I think should happen, I think Shedeur should go out there and seize the moment every single week and not let them take him out of the lineup. I think it's a good idea to see as much of him as you possibly can to see if he can change your mind about drafting a quarterback in the first round of the 2026 draft. But he's got to go out and do it week after week and prove that he's the guy and that they don't need to see more of Dylan Gabriel. So I think that's his charge for right now.
Look, y'all need to understand what just happened because Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns insider who gets all the inside information before anyone else, just went on 92.3 The Fan and basically told us that the Browns are still not sure if Shedeur Sanders is their franchise quarterback. And that's insane. After everything Shedeur has done, after the 4 touchdowns against Tennessee, after showing elite accuracy and improved footwork, after demonstrating moxie and leadership, the Browns are still treating him like a question mark. Let me walk you through this interview because Mary Kay said some things that are absolutely wild, and I need to break it down piece by piece so you understand what's really happening in Cleveland. So, the radio hosts are talking to Mary Kay about Kevin Stefanski potentially getting fired, and they ask her about quarterback development, and Mary Kay says something that reveals everything about how the Browns view quarterbacks. Kevin will be successful when he has a quarterback, either here or elsewhere. It all comes down to the quarterback. So if the Cleveland Browns have a good quarterback over the next few years, then he'll be a successful head coach. So the hosts follow up and ask, does that mean Stefanski needs an established quarterback, or can he develop young talent?
No, it doesn't have to be a seasoned veteran or an established quarterback. It just has to be a quarterback who's capable of winning early on, for the most part. I mean, what you really want to avoid is going to a place where there just isn't going to be an answer at quarterback for a while. Now, maybe Jackson Dart is the answer for the New York Giants. Maybe Cam Ward is going to get things turned around and he's going to be the answer. So would be okay in those situations. But any head coach is really only going to be as good.
And Mary Kay's response is telling. It doesn't have to be a seasoned veteran or an established quarterback. It just has to be a quarterback who's capable of winning early on for the most part. What you really want to avoid is going to a place where there just isn't going to be an answer at quarterback for a while. For a while. Y'all, do you see what Mary Kay just implied? She's saying Kevin Stefanski needs a quarterback who can win immediately. Not someone who needs development, not someone who needs time to grow, someone who can win right now. And then she says, any head coach is really only going to be as good as the quarterback play that he's going to get. So basically, Mary Kay is setting up the narrative that if the Browns struggle next year, it's because they don't have a good enough quarterback. She's pre-blaming Shedeur for Kevin Stefanski's potential failures. But then the hosts ask the crucial question. I do think Kevin can develop young quarterbacks. How is Shedeur coming along? And Mary Kay's answer is where things get explosive. She says, the only thing about the Shedeur situation is I still think that by the time you get to the end of this season, it's going to be hard to be 100% certain that he can be your guy. Hard to be 100% certain? Y'all, Shedeur has thrown for over 1,000 yards in 4 starts. He's shown elite accuracy. He's improved his footwork. He's demonstrated leadership and resilience. And Mary Kay is saying it's going to be hard to be certain about him? What more does he need to do?
That this was on the right track and that was probably going to end up being the case. But you have to look at the whole picture. And when you watch what Bears, that's just a normal part of what happens with a rookie quarterback. You're going to take a couple steps forward, and then you're going to take a couple steps back. But what you want to see is continued growth. And if they get to the end of the season and they see that he has developed and he's still on that upswing, on the upward trajectory.
So the radio host follows up and asks Mary Kay directly, where do you currently sit? If you had to make the decision for him to be quarterback 1 for 2026, would you go with him? Would you draft or trade? And Mary Kay's response is shocking. It's a great question, but I think I have been saying all along that you're gonna have to take a look at the whole 7 games, but I still do believe that once you get to the end of the 7 games, it's still going to be difficult to know. And you might just have to make a judgment call. You might just have to decide, hey, we've seen him throw some really nice passes. He's got elite accuracy. His footwork has gotten better. He's got a lot of moxie and drive. You might just have to say, okay, we only have a 7-game sample size, but we think that he's got it, that we can move forward with him. You might just have to make a judgment call. We only have a 7-game sample size. Y'all, Mary Kay is treating Shedeur like he's some unproven commodity, like 7 games isn't enough to see what he can do, like his elite accuracy and improved footwork don't mean anything. And then she drops this line. I think after the Titans game, I think there was probably a lot of feeling that this was on the right track and that was probably going to end up being the case. So after the Titans game, where Shedeur threw 4 touchdowns, the Browns thought he was the guy. They were feeling good about him. They were on the right track. But then Mary Kay continues, but you have to look at the whole picture. And when you watch what happened against the Bears, that's just a normal part of what happens with a rookie quarterback. You're going to take a couple steps forward, and then you're going to take a couple steps back. A couple steps back.
Where do you currently sit? Obviously, he's got 4 starts, 2 good, 2 bad. Where, if you had to make the decision for him to be quarterback 1 for 2026, would you go with him? Would you draft or trade?
It's a great question, but I think I have been saying all along, even though there's different nuances to it, is that you're going to have to take a look at the whole 7 games. But I still do believe that once you get to the end of the 7 games, it's still going to be difficult to know. And you might just have to make a judgment call. You might just have to decide, hey, we've seen him throw some really nice passes. He's got elite accuracy.
Mary Kay is saying the Bears game, where Kevin Stefanski gave Shedeur the wrong plays in his wristband, where Jerry Jeudy dropped a perfect touchdown pass, where the offensive line was decimated by injuries. That game is evidence that Shedeur took a couple steps back. That's not fair, that's not accurate, and that's not how you evaluate a rookie quarterback who was sabotaged by his own coaching staff. But then, Mary Kay says something that reveals everything about how the Browns really feel. I don't know yet if he can be the guy. I don't know yet, and I do think that 7 games, you might just have to take a risk if you think he can be. I don't know yet if he can be the guy. You might just have to take a risk. Y'all, Mary Kay just called Shedeur Sanders a risk. She's treating him like a gamble, like the Browns would be taking a chance on him if they make him the starter in 2026. That's disrespectful, that's insulting, and that's absolutely wild considering what Shedeur has already proven. But wait, because it gets even worse. The hosts ask Mary Kay about how the Browns can fix their offensive line and receiving room, and she drops this bombshell.
You might just have to decide, hey, we've seen him throw some really nice passes. He's got elite accuracy. His footwork has gotten better. He's got a lot of moxie and drive and all of those kinds of things. You might just have to say, okay, we only have a 7-game sample size, but we think that he's got it, that we can move forward with him. And I think after the Titans game, I think there was probably a lot of feeling that this was on the right track.
They have 2 first-round picks, and in a perfect world, they hope that they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback. And if they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback, then you're looking at potentially an offensive tackle and a wide receiver with those picks. In a perfect world, they hope they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback. Y'all, do you understand what Mary Kay just revealed? The Browns are actively considering using one of their first-round picks to draft another quarterback, even after giving Shedeur 7 starts, even after he's shown elite accuracy, improved footwork, moxie, and leadership. The Browns are still keeping the door open to drafting Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, or another quarterback to replace him. That's the secret plan. That's what Jimmy Haslam is really thinking, and Mary Kay just exposed it on live radio. And then Mary Kay says something that makes this even more frustrating. She talks about how the Browns can fix their receiving room, and she says, I think they need to get Jerry Jeudy back on track, and it's going to be hard to know. You won't know if he is the Jerry Jeudy of 2024 until you get some consistent quarterback play. So that's always obviously the key to everything. Consistent quarterback play. Wait, what? Mary Kay just blamed Jerry Jeudy's failures on the quarterback. She's saying the reason Jeudy has been dropping passes and letting balls get ripped out of his hands is because of inconsistent quarterback play.
And in a perfect world, they hope that they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback. And if they don't have to use those picks on a quarterback, then you're looking at potentially an offensive tackle and a wide receiver with those picks. So that can help turn things around in a hurry. And then, of course, you've got Isaiah Bond, who I think in his second year, he will step up and he'll be a better receiver next year. And then in terms of free agency, I mean, you can always buy some players. You can always do that.
But we've seen the film. We've seen Shedeur throw perfect passes that Jerry drops. We've seen dimes to the end zone that Jerry lets defenders take away. This isn't about quarterback play. This is about Jerry Jeudy not being a reliable receiver. But Mary Kay is flipping the script. She's making it sound like Shedeur is the problem and Jerry Jeudy is the victim. That's the narrative the Browns are pushing, and Mary Kay is their mouthpiece. Now, let me be clear about something. Mary Kay also acknowledged some positive things about Shedeur. She said he has elite accuracy. She said his footwork has gotten better. She said he has a lot of moxie and drive. Those are all true statements. Those are all things we've seen from Shedeur on the field. But here's the problem. Even after acknowledging all of that, Mary Kay still said, I don't know yet if he can be the guy. She still said the Browns might have to take a risk on him. She still said they're considering drafting another quarterback. So what's the point of praising his elite accuracy if you're not going to commit to him? What's the point of acknowledging his improved footwork if you're going to treat him like a question mark? What's the point of recognizing his moxie if you're going to draft someone else to replace him? The Browns are playing both sides. They're saying nice things about Shedeur publicly while keeping the door open to replace him privately. And Mary Kay just exposed that strategy on live radio. Here's the real issue. The Browns are evaluating Shedeur Sanders under impossible standards.
Can he be the guy? I don't know yet if he can be the guy. I don't know yet. And I do think that 7 games, you might just have to take a risk if you think he can be.
How do you solve this offensive line and the fact that none of these guys are under contract for next year? I mean, I guess Whippler can make a case to lock down the start. Every time?
At all times.
He can make, I'm not even saying the man's name anymore.
Yeah,
he can make a case to lock down the starting center job over these last few games. Maybe Tevin Jenkins comes, but like none of these guys are under contract.
They gave him the wrong plays in his wristband. They paired him with receivers who drop touchdown passes. They put him behind an offensive line that's falling apart. They brought him in cold against the Ravens with 0 first-team reps. And now they're using the Bears game, where all of those problems came to a head, as evidence that he's not ready. And if they get to the end of the season and they see that he has developed and he's still on that upward trajectory, then they're going to have a conversation with themselves after the season and decide, can he be the guy? But here's the thing. Shedeur has shown growth. He threw 4 touchdowns against Tennessee. He's improved his footwork. He's demonstrating elite accuracy. He's showing moxie and leadership. The only reason the Browns are questioning him is because of the Bears game, a game where Kevin Stefanski sabotaged him with the wrong plays and Jerry Jeudy failed to catch a perfect touchdown pass. So how is that Shedeur's fault? How is that evidence that he can't be the guy? It's not, but the Browns are using it as an excuse to keep their options open, and Mary Kay just confirmed it. So here's my question for you. When Mary Kay says, I don't know yet if he can be the guy, after Shedeur showed elite accuracy, improved footwork, and threw 4 touchdowns against the Titans, is that proof the Browns are looking for any excuse to replace him? When she admits the Browns might just have to take a risk on Shedeur for 2026, isn't that treating a proven talent like a gamble instead of recognizing what he's already accomplished? And when Mary Kay reveals the Browns, in a perfect world, hope they don't have to use their first-round picks on a quarterback, meaning they're actively considering drafting Cam Ward or Jackson Dart, doesn't that prove Jimmy Haslam is still not committed to Shedeur after 7 games? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because Mary Kay Cabot just exposed the Browns' secret plan to potentially replace Shedeur before he even gets a real chance. And the only way to stop it is to make sure these final 3 games prove beyond a doubt that he's the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been waiting for. If you believe Shedeur deserves the Browns to commit to him instead of treating him like a risk and keeping the door open to draft another quarterback, smash that subscribe button, because we're going to keep exposing every insider who tries to downplay what Shedeur has already proven, while the organization plots to replace him with their 2 first-round picks.